So, I want to first of all tell you a little bit about the IEP and what it's all about and why we're doing what we're doing today. It's an organisation that's been around for about 6 years, and we are working very hard to bring services to you that really enable the progression of the sector and enable you to operate to your absolute best ability and capacity. That's really important to us. And this is a marketplace that is genuinely ever changing. So it's not always a very easy place to operate. Hopefully now you can see my slides. It's not always an easy place to operate, and we want to be your conduit and your portal to enable you to do the best you can and be the best you can be for your customers. So in a nutshell, that's what we do. That's what they're for. The IEP is dedicated to supporting those people who support others gain work, progress in work and retain work. It does exactly what it says on the tin, and hopefully all those people that are on the webinar today, that is what you do in your various different guises and in various different ways that you support. So these are the kinds of organisations that we work with. Your organisation is within that, both as a housing association and a deliverer of specialist disability and health-based services, and more besides. And as I say, I have a close affinity with Papworth Trust. They're the organisations we work with at this moment in time, whether they be corporate affiliate partners or whether they be strategic partners. And you can see there's a real varying kind of support network there. Some large trade body organisations like AELP and URSA, and then some smaller housing associations, some organisations of real specialism like Papworth Trust, and organisations that are really helping support and changing the lives of people who are disadvantaged for whatever reason. Okay, and this is how we go about doing our work. So we empower individuals. The whole point about this is that you will feel constantly confident about what you know and how you can serve people. And I'm not saying, please believe me, that that's not how you feel now. But we're there to help and support you to continually feel that, particularly when you access different stakeholder partnerships, or with a particularly different customer, or in a different locality where you're not so used to. We want to continue to champion employability as being a recognised profession, one that is really key to the opportunities that people can be supported with to enhance their independence and thus their employability. I'm really excited to say, and there'll be a bit more in this presentation about that the Institute for Apprenticeships has recognised through our Level 4 Employability Practitioner as employability practice as being a defined and singular occupation. And I think in essence that's the first time that's ever happened. We want to make sure that we secure employers' recognition so that employers value what you're doing as a group of people and as individuals, and really get behind this as being a good function for change and enabling, supporting people to the best that you can. And we want to make sure there's a network of opportunities so you can share all the great things that you do. We can share all the great things that other people do. And ultimately that impacts the lives of those people that are receiving services. Now, we set out about 2 years ago to say what we thought the future advisor would need to be. And I'm not saying, once again, for any reason, that you're not already this. You may well be. You may well be functioning, practicing at the absolute height of your ability. And that's wonderful. And if you are, we want to hear from you because we want to learn how you're doing that. Okay, so we need highly skilled people, and the Level 4 Employability Practitioner is going to be a real proof of that, there is no doubt. The learning in that is difficult, it's hard, the proving of capability is challenging, but it's worth having, there is no doubt. And clearly from a commercial point of view, it is levy funded, which is helping a number of organisations to resource that. We want to make sure that people are customer focused all the time. And I know that's a bit of a given and a bit of a giveaway, but we want people to be driving behaviours in themselves and with customers that are customer focused, looking at inclusivity, looking at making sure that the person is at the heart of everything that you're doing, that it's holistic, and it's not just driven by target-based approach. Now, targets and outcomes are phenomenally important and will continue to be important, but we want to make sure that this is customer focused as well. And from my experience within Papworth Trust, that is the case. And in essence, you've been ahead of the curve working in that way for such a long time. Want to make sure that advisors are able to be resourceful, so they have the resources that are needed, but they can access into an integrated marketplace where people and organisations are there readily available through great partnerships that can help support customers in a different way, or with another part of their journey, or with the support mechanisms that are required in a different setting. We believe the future advisor needs to be a leader of systems, needs to lead that stakeholder relationship and that engagement, and also is at the forefront and the centre of new developments within the sector. And that's the wider sector as well. So within the Employability Practitioner Trailblazer Apprenticeship development, we've been able to engage with more housing associations, more careers-based companies, because everybody wants to use that as a route way through to learning with specific career paths. And once again, more onto that in a minute. Trust is a huge thing in terms of mentoring and coaching relationships. We know that, we've always known that, but being trusted in the wider element is going to be hugely important, and that comes through the connections that you have, that how you flex those connections, how you help support people to become connected with you, and how that trust is built across the piece. It's no longer, and I know it's never been the case within Papworth Trust, but it's no longer good enough to deliver in volume, to deliver services that are generic. I mean, for want of a better term, and it's a terrible term, I know, generically unemployed people don't exist at this time, or at least they're not accessing services and needing support because of high employment figures. So what we are doing is what Papworth Trust has done for a long time, is supporting people who are really struggling, who really, really need that support, who need all the advice that they can get, and will be able to achieve those outcomes because of the services that you provide. So I'm going to go on to a few key points now within the website, and just before I go into sharing the screens and doing a live demo and stuff, I'll just make sure I come back and make sure that Una and everyone else can hear me effectively, because I can't hear anybody at this moment in time because of the muting. So my IEP, it's really easy. It's really easy to access. Sign in for membership. You can manage your profile and preferences there. You can print your certificates and your membership card. You can feel like you're part of a movement and something that's valid and viable. And there's lots and lots of stuff that comes out. Hopefully everybody in on the call today gets the Employability Professional every single week on a Monday. We have people moan if it's not out at 10 o'clock on a Monday morning, which I think is a great thing because they need it, they want it. And there's some good base learning there and some good updates and information. It will not suit your purpose every single week. It's 52 weeks of the year, but it will suit your purpose on occasion, and it will be something that really helps and steers you towards something on the website that really makes a difference to you and the customers that you're serving. The knowledge bank is growing all the time, and if anyone can think of a really great 10 things guide, which I'll show you in a moment, that you can share with others around 10 things of supporting somebody with a particular challenge or in a particular environment, then please tell me, because I think that would be really, really interesting and valuable. The knowledge bank delivers understanding of specific barriers to employment, including specific disadvantaged groups, but also it enables people to learn about what a potential context may be, or how we go about supporting people in a particular setting. It also contributes to an employer's existing training infrastructure. We're not suggesting for a moment that any of the IEP learning activity replaces anything. It's there to enhance. We're not there at this moment in time to make people the most specialist that they can be. We want people to specialize. We want people to support people in a very particular way. But it doesn't mean that we are emulating a lot of other institutes. We want everybody in the sector to be operating to a level that is guaranteed, that is understood, and that is valued and revered in both the public and government settings. And that's clearly what we're trying to do. And if Stuart has anything to say, Stuart knows when we first engaged with the IEP all those years ago, and Stuart was one of its key founders. That's always been the message. We want people to operate to a particular level that is qualitative, that is right, and that people understand, and they can guarantee that the service they're going to get is one that is good, if not great. Okay, so there's a virtual learning platform. It's great for HR departments because you can manage CPD activity in there. You can track your own CPD, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. You can take control of your own learning. That's the whole point of the IEP. It's about making sure that you access learning when you need it, and you do it off your own back. This is not something that has to be force-fed by organisations. You get free access to induction packs, free access to workplace progression, and your support in terms of mentoring about how you invest in your own career and how you progress that. How we improve skills and knowledge across the piece, really important that we've got people operating on all aspects of the space, which are tens of thousands of people, and they're doing it right. And we offer bursaries for conferences. Some people have picked up those, and it's really useful, you know, as a frontline member of staff, you know, £400 to go to the Interwork Convention or whatever it's called this year, Employment and Skills Convention, is a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of money to anybody. And, you know, being a member of the IEP, you get access to being able to apply for those bursaries. The induction pack's really useful. It confirms that the holders gain the relevant information, and there's a test and there's a certificate, and so it's very good proof. They're designed around improving knowledge around very specific aspects like lone working and data protection and safeguarding and extremism and things like that. And it's a really, really effective tool for small or large organisations alike, or particularly their supply chains as well. It's very, very useful for that. And here's a really good example of the CPD program. And you can click, when you're logged in, you can click into these things whenever you want. You can complete them. And the great thing about it is by completing them, you get CPD points. And at the end of the year, you can remain a member if you're a member, and you can keep accessing your learning and building up points. And when I show you how to print off your CPD certificate, it's always a really good thing, as long as you've been doing everything else right with your employer. Really great thing to have to hand for your appraisals, your end of year reviews. Okay, there's also an interactive jobs board. Now, as an employer, you can advertise at discount, which is fantastic. But as an individual, you can upload your CV and you can search your jobs. Now, clearly, everybody is going to be very, very happy working for Papworth Trust, and you won't need to use this at all. But it is a function that we instigated for our membership, and it's really important that it's there. And very quickly now onto the IEP website upgrade. It's a new, clean design. We think it's really professionalised the world's view on us. It has really improved social links. So there's some really great functionality in there. And I'll show you in a minute, you can even do that on your smartphone, which is great. So you can get learning when you need it. There's an updated knowledge bank layout. We're just working on it at the moment, but I'll show you how it's going to be. And a great section of getting involved, how you access stuff, get some advice, get some support, join a network, build a network, you know, get actively involved in this movement. Okay, so I'm going to come out of the presentation at the moment and just show you the whistle-stop tour of the website. And I'll just check with Una in a moment. So if everyone can be as quiet as they can, I'll just check with Una that everybody can see, can still see what we're trying to do here. Bear with me just a second. Okay, so I can hear everybody again now. So Una, can you see me and hear me?
Yes, yeah, we're at head office and we can hear and see everything fine.
So the whole of that presentation and you can see me and everything.
Yeah.
Super, okay, great. Okay, so I'll mute everybody again and we'll go into the second part of the presentation, which is around making sure that you can see the website. So just bear with me just 2 seconds while I get this up and running. Okay. That should mean that you can now, yes. So, no, not that one. Bear with me a second, I apologise. Hi again, I'm back with you. I'm just trying to share with you. Here we go. Right, there we go. Takes a little bit of time. So if you could see my screen before, you can see this now. This is the new website. As you can see, new improved design. It does exactly what it says on the tin. Do you help people progress their careers? Do you help people find work? Do you provide learning, training and development? As you can see at the top here, there's an instant access jobs board. I won't mention that again. There is an opportunity to manage your profile and check your profile and contact us. And there's also an opportunity for me to sign out, which I'll do now. So I can show you how it looks when and before you go in to sign in. We've tried to go with this button option so it makes it a great easier for those key moments of you accessing the stuff you need to access. And it's very easy to scroll over and learn more all the time. Here's the signing in box. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. Instant access to the knowledge bank here if you're signed in. Clearly that's a membership benefit. Access to the latest calendars and news and things that are going on. And this is the IEP Twitter feed here. Very much like normal websites that you will access every single day. None of this is the interesting bit, but this is the front facing. This is how people join. This is Papworth Trust here. This will be a few of you here on individual membership. And these are organisations like the Give Us a Chance Consortium, URSA, AELP, Careers England, oh my goodness, Career Development Institute, many different, Learning and Work Institute, many different organisations there. And this is the stuff I was talking about earlier. Ask an expert, share what works, send us your news, join a network. So they're the things that we want people to get involved with. It's really important to us. And the last thing I'll say is you can see partners running across the bottom here. They pay for this service and I'm really happy to do that for them. And they're all really good organisations that we work with. Up to about 50 of them now. So there's a very large group of organisations that we're working with. So I'm just going to go up to the top here now. I'm going to sign in. Most of you will have logins. If you've got issues with logins, you need to tell me, not now, but you need to get Una or yourselves to email me. Thank goodness it remembers my login or I would forget. But once you've logged in, fingers crossed now that's going to log in, you have access to the whole IEP world. And this is where it gets, for me, quite exciting because this is where the learning is. So you can see now the login box has changed to a My Feed profile page, all that kind of stuff. And lots of ways to create a resume and manage your profile and do lots of stuff. You can actually use this as a payment. You can go in and make your payments and update. I'm not going to go through the payment structure today at all because if you've got any issues with it, if and when you need to renew your membership, then it's very easily sorted out. You can send an email and we can get that sorted. It's a bit dull, that is. So across the top here, you can see we've got lots of stuff about the IEP board. What is the IEP? A directive of fellows, which are really easy to click through. I'm not going to do that, but you just click through and it gives you the information that you need. Then there's lots of ways to join the IEP, how to apply for a fellowship, which I would be really happy if anyone wants to do that, and what individual membership and corporate membership mean. Then under the career progression banner, you've got access to the jobs board, your own CPD, events. Our standardised qualification has been around for a few years now, the level 3 and 4 in employment-related services and the level 3 and 4 in employment services sector, the ESS. We've got the induction certificate there and some kind of mentoring stuff around there, members for members. Under the knowledge bank, you've got opportunities there to access guides and best practice and other stuff. Which I can go into in a moment. News and events are exactly what they say they are, and I'll come back to my CPD and my IEP in a minute. So if I go into the knowledge bank activity, I can then find the 10 things guide. I mentioned those earlier, and that's just loading up at the moment. And there's a whole lots and lots of 10 things guides there. Sorry, I've not accessed it the right way. So I'm going to pick one. Let's pick Asperger's. And you can see there was quite a comprehensive list of stuff. The great thing about this is these are generated by specialists within the sector. So I'd be really happy for Papworth Trust to look at doing a 10 things guide to something, whatever they decide is a really good thing. They always start with a bit of an introduction. They then provide some statistics. 1 in 100 people have Asperger's. And males are more prone to Asperger's than females, roughly 4 to 1. I don't know whether anyone knew that. And then it just goes through 10 really, really simple things that you need to be aware of. Now, as I say, this is not going to make you a specialist in somebody who can help and support somebody with Asperger's, but it makes you understand it slightly better if you didn't understand it before. It also makes you, makes maybe practitioners that have not been doing this for so long less fearful about somebody coming in. There was a really interesting one around the stammering one. We all work in a caring profession. We all want to help people. We all want to be actively supportive of human beings. Well, I think on point 3 or 4 of the stammering one, it says, don't finish people's sentences. It's a natural thing to do when you want to help and support somebody, but it doesn't really help and support them. So we go back to the guides. There's loads and loads of different ones here. Sight loss was done by the RNIB, sorry. Lots and lots of stuff. This is from Belina Grow. Lots and lots of stuff there. Okay, and then also on the learning, sorry if this is making you a bit dizzy, the guides, you've got the induction pack there, and you can see there's a guide to mental health, disability, safeguarding lone workers, guide to data protection, yeah? Lots and lots of generic, simple stuff. But if I go into, I'm going to try and access lots, and you can see here's the policy stuff. If I went into the knowledge bank itself, you'll see probably about 200 articles at the moment in a big long list. And it's searchable, so that's fine. But what we're going to do is to make it much more like this. There will be bullets. I've chose 7 bullets, logo, whatever you call them, click-ons. And so when you're searching for something, you can search manually by clicking on one of those logos. Whichever they will be. There'll be policy, there'll be learning, there'll be some, I can't quite remember what they are, but at the moment we're busy working on those. Or you can search in a search bar at the top and it will take you to something. Here is the search bar. You can search for anything on this site. Okay, anything you want, you can search up there and it will find it through the knowledge bank or wherever else it needs to search for it. When you've done your learning, you can record it. I'm just going to go into, bear with me a second. Now, I had an issue with this earlier. So if I just go to Guide for Mental Health, I'm hoping that this brings it up. Here we are. Yeah, that's the issue I've had before. So I can't fix that now because I'm sharing the screen. What you go into is automatically the learning is there. You read the learning, you can print it off, you can actually get that information there in front of you. Then you do an examination. You begin the quiz, you do the examination, and then you can print off your induction pack certificate for that element of the learning you've just done. And you can also add it to your annual CPD learning. So you can track the certificates you gained. I haven't any registered here on the new site, so please don't shoot me. I apologise. But you can see here, here's all the list of the certificates that are available and the learning. And you can, once you put your entries in, you can track what that means to you. And you can also, on My CPD, get to your annual CPD certificate. And you can see what you have to register there as annual points are 50. That's what's expected from the IEP to be actively membership there. You can earn that through many different ways, and there'll be more and more ways coming actually to do that very soon. And once again, that's the annual CPD certificate. So you can access that whenever you need to. You record your CPD whenever you need to. And it is very, very straightforward in doing that. and it records automatically through the CPD you're doing here. You can top that up by events. If you go to a conference or go to an event, you can add CPD points annually. And there isn't really enough time to show that today, but if anyone wants to know how to do that and can't figure it out for themselves, I'll let you know. You can add those points very manually, and they will add to your total. And there's a bit of honesty here and trust. You know, you can't just kind of go, oh well, I had a conversation with somebody the other day. This is about attendance at events and providing the right learning and the right points to do that. Okay. If you want to go then under to, so hopefully that's my CPD sorted. You can do your learning. You can get your certificate, you can add it to your CPD, you can track that certificate over the year, and you can prove what you've been learning. Under my IEP, which is the last one here, you've got your certificate, you can pay your membership. I'm not going to go into that today. You can edit your profile. Please get your profiles up to date. That's great. You can go into the jobs board, you can put ideas in, you can take part in member surveys, you can do lots and lots of stuff there. Just show you the membership certificate. I hope this comes up. And as the chairman of the IEP, I think I've already signed my own certificate, which is a really weird thing. But anyway, we need to address that. I'm hoping this is going to come up with my certificate now. Yeah, there you go. That's me. And I'm very proud to have that certificate. I've worked very, very hard to be both a member and a fellow of the IEP. And I hope that you guys can invest the time and energy that you need to be recognised in that vein. And I think I don't use the term proud kind of wantingly. You know, I think being proud about what you do because of the way that you change people's lives is really important, and that's what we're hoping the IEP brings to you. Okay, so I'm just going to go back now. So that's the membership certificate, and then the last thing I want to show you on the website is the social link aspects, the things that work like LinkedIn, the things that enable you to gain access to other people and to work with other people. So this is my feed, and it's not wonderfully enlightening yet. I need to spend a great deal of time doing this. I need to be more active. I need to put stuff. I need to not take photos of colleagues from Iconi, but you know, it just shows what you can do. Like LinkedIn, you can put photos up there, you can put postings, you can you can request connections. So here's my feed again. I can go into connections, I can search for somebody. I'm not going to do it live because I'll pick somebody that I can't find clearly, which is always the case, isn't it? Don't work with children, animals, and technology, I think. You can build groups. So once again, you could have a Papworth Trust group, which would be fantastic. You can do those things. And you can. The great thing about this is it's really safe. So no one can see your stuff or engage with you unless you've agreed to connect with them. Very much like LinkedIn, really, in essence, other than the fact that LinkedIn on its front portal is very much more open, but you still can't get any data from anyone unless you're a connection with them. So that's the social link stuff. And you can, once again, in there, you can build your profile, you can add stuff, you can do everything. And I'm really happy to do one-on-one with anyone. I'm still learning a bit myself. This is a brand new thing for IEP. But the really exciting thing also that I hope people can see, this is my smartphone. And this is an app called Social Link. It's far more interesting than I am. But this is exactly the same feed on my smartphone. Social Link as an app can be downloaded for Android and from Apple. It's free. You log in with the same login that you do for the website, and you will have access to everything that you want in a social setting from your phone, which I think is quite a revolution, to be honest, in terms of the opportunity to do stuff when you're thinking about it and it's at the forefront of your mind, when you're making a cup of coffee, maybe you've got time to think, or when there is the opportunity to do something because you need to do something quickly. Okay, so that's Social Link on your phone. Okay. And so I'm just going to go back now to the website, and I hope you'll all agree that that is a distinct improvement from the previous website. It's something that looks professional, that is easy to manage and operate. Please believe me, if I can do it, anybody can do it. But it really, really has your stuff available where you want it, when you want it, and it's available 24/7. And it's a really good portal, and it will continue to grow. So 10 Things Guide from Papworth Trust, or some more articles for the Knowledge Bank, some ideas about best practice. We continue to build this wealth of knowledge and understanding, meaning that every single customer that's served in with all those tens of thousands of people is getting at least a good service from people. Okay, so I'm just going to stop the share again, and then I'm going to go back to the presentation. Una, I can see you again, which is marvellous. It's always nice to see you. Okay, good. We're really good. Una's given me a thumbs up. So we're going to go into the rest of the presentation. So hopefully what I've shown you is what the IEP is about. I've shown you how you can access into the IEP, how you go about accessing that support. And I'm not saying it's the magic bullet in any way, shape or form. I'm just saying that it's a good step forward, and we'll continue to improve that, very much like we are doing with the Knowledge Bank. And then what I'm going to go on to talk about now is what we see the future being, helping support address some of the challenges that we think are there around the future advisor, and how organisations that may be not quite as ahead of the curve as Papworth Trust are may well need to do more to enable customers to be accessing the right level of support and provision. So, and you will just have to wait just a moment. Bear with me just 2 seconds. Sorry about this. It is a bit challenging sometimes going between the two different things. Yes, I've got it back again. Okay, so this is where we left off. So yes, I'm going to tell you what I think we need to do. The last thing I didn't mention is you get Employability Professional every week. So 52 weeks of the year, including Christmas week, you get to hear from us. Fortunately, you don't get to see my face every day and every week, which is a really good thing. But you get some good content from Employability Professional. And once again, we're working very hard on that to make that better and better and better, more comprehensive with more and more updates. And there's some simple examples, some older examples actually of Employability Professional. And if you're not getting that, you need to tell us, because that's part of your corporate affiliation and part of the stuff that we're doing with Papworth Trust. So we see this as being enabling learning, improving those outcomes with customers, and making sure that networks are improved and there is the increase in the networks that are available. We want to make sure that you are becoming outcome focused as individuals for your own selves. So you're learning, you're working in an environment that is supportive, and that you are thinking about career progression, you're thinking about how you can be better. Even if you are the best, if you believe you are the best you can always improve, there is no doubt. And I know that's in essence teaching Granny to suck eggs a little bit, but it is true. I learn constantly. I'm learning by doing this. I'm clicking lots of buttons and hoping that it works. We're all learning all the time. And I think that's really, really important to understand. And if we're talking about CPD, continuous professional development, if we're talking about learning with customers, if we're engaging them to improve themselves, wouldn't it be really just ridiculous if we weren't focused on enabling ourselves to learn at all times as well? So, Apprenticeship Trailblazer, this is the new thing in town. This is what we've been developing over the last 14 months, and the thing we're really, really pleased with. We think it covers all aspects of the roles now and potentially into the future. So I'm going to talk about today just really quickly for the final sort of 5-10 minutes about why the standards were introduced. why an employer group was important, why this was coming about, really, in essence. And really importantly for me, why the IEP was taking a leading role in this. So we have developed an employability practitioner apprenticeship standard. We're not allowed to say that it's level 4 because in apprenticeship standards now there are no levels, but it is level 4. And if I talk about qualifications in this, I only do this for ease. I'm not allowed on behalf of the Institute for Apprenticeships to talk about qualifications anymore. But if I don't talk about qualifications and levels, you can't really, it's very hard to understand what it is. And how you might pitch and how it might work for you as an individual. Okay, so we thought we could get people together for this. That's what the IEP is really good at. It's good at getting people together, talking to people, enabling people to see their value. And that goes for large organisations, it goes for individuals like you guys on the webinar today. We wanted to make sure we had something fit for purpose that's for now and on the future, which is not an easy thing to do. We're proving capability of individuals, but we're making sure it's future-proof as much as you ever can, because nobody knows what the market's going to do over the next few years. I wanted to make sure that we had something that levy funding would fund. One of the challenges I mentioned earlier, the IEP had its qualifications. One of the challenges getting that embedded in a large-scale kind of way was that it wasn't really very well funded under the apprenticeships, and organisations are commercial bodies. You know, they have to take views and have particular opinions on what is right and proper and what's a priority. And ultimately, being poorly funded was not helpful. Okay, so levy funding comes along, and that enables those large organisations and other levy-paying organisations to think, do you know what? We're not just going to spend our levy on some of the more traditional routes. We're going to spend it on frontline activity where we get the most benefit with our customers. And I can understand within Papworth Trust, frontline staff, the activity happens on the frontline with customers is really, really important to Papworth Trust. And we wanted to make sure that it was deliverable within 24 months at the most. For some people, it won't take 24 months. For some people, it'll take 12 months, just over 12 months to get through the gateway and maybe be qualified. I'll use that term, I'm not allowed to, within 13 months. Depending on where you sit at the moment, what prior learning you've had, and and how quickly you can get on with it, as it were. So a few things that went well. We engaged with the sector really well. We continued the shared vision and purpose. We're very honest with organisations. You know, there are lots of organisations around the table that deliver learning, deliver apprenticeships. We always knew what the commercial imperative was, and we knew that it would be something that we could help and support and engage with in a way that was honest. You know, not enough honesty in business, I'll tell you, but certainly honest around the table, and was kept as such. We had meetings every single month. We were a bit worried at the start whether or not we'd have anything to discuss every single month, but we certainly did. Lots of decisions to take, lots of information to share, lots of things for people to do and go away and come back with. We started off using our corporate affiliate partners like Papworth Trust to make sure that we got a groundswell of people that were positive about that learning initiative. And that was really important. And then we brought a number of other partners in who we didn't have a relationship with, but we knew would engage in terms of that agenda. And to date, there's about 50 organisations on that employer group. And I don't want to kind of run over that. That 50 employees is substantial. Managing 50 employers, all with slightly different intent and opinion, is not easy. And what is also not easy is that we've had this, and this will be available within 18 months of starting the development. That is unheard of in an apprenticeship development setting, and certainly with the trailblazer activity. And we're very pleased that we've been able to do that. Now that's really great because we've got a lot of organisations that understand the learning environment. And from those organisations, they were learning development professionals as well as operational professionals who were enabling us to get that moving and get it going. We got a lead employer in CTEC with the capability and passion, and more importantly, an individual called Claire Illingworth, who genuinely has the capability and passion to get this right, and has been such an amazing person at getting this over the line. And we weren't afraid to take advice and change direction. We didn't change very much, but we took advice, and we started to develop a level 3 and a level 4 And it became clear after sort of about 8 months or so that level 3 was not going to have legs. We couldn't differentiate between the 4 and the 3. And there's lots of reasons why we've decided to go with a level 4 qualification. And in a commercial and business way, not having a level 3 doesn't dilute the pool of people that can engage with that. It's funded more heavily. You can get a number of the level 3 elements into it. And we took a really cathartic decision that that would be where our career mapping would sit. We also took a decision that we wanted to offer that one qualification, and that was upon advice by the Institute for Apprenticeships. I think it's really important to say that we weren't afraid to take that advice and move it forward. We engaged with other trailblazer groups right at the start to figure out what went wrong for them, what went right, and lots of things went wrong. Some of them still in development after 6 years. I mean, it's considerable. We got a really good understanding of the apprenticeship levy early on, so we could understand the commercial elements of this and why this would work for people. We communicated on a regular basis and made sure that the messaging was consistent, very positive, very out there. Even when we took decisions that didn't seem as positive, we made sure that people understood that this was for the good of the sector and for the good of the qualification, the apprenticeship. Great levels of cooperation leading to genuine co-design. This is not something that the IEPs delivered in isolation or any one of the organisations. This is people going off on task and finish groups, enabling the delivery of this activity. We enabled people, provided venues for us to work in. I mean, phenomenal level of support for this. Wider sector involvement and engagement in that. And that's no mean feat. Careers sector in particular has been one that hasn't really seen the kind of understanding and benefit of employability practice. Although, and I know that's a huge sweeping statement, but most of the work that careers practitioners now below a level 6 and particularly outside of the school-based environment are doing is very much employability. And it took a while to have those conversations, but because the careers-based sector didn't want to develop their own level 3, 4, 5, whatever it would be, this already in development a level 6 careers practitioner, they jumped on with us and wanted to use this as a route way for that careers practitioner. So what that means is that organisations that traditionally did IAG level 4 or will probably still do this if there's a commissioner requirement, but they'll use the apprenticeship levy funded level 4 employability practitioner to provide for all the learning and then maybe map across and accredit and qualify if needed from a commissioning setting. Now that gives many more thousands of people access to this standard, which is, this apprenticeship standard, which is great for the standard and also for the sector. And it's brought all those organisations closer together. And we're now working on joint ventures and joint activity, which really make a difference. And I know relationships with the current NCS providers and the incumbent NCS providers is very good from the IEP. So watch this space. You'll see a much wider amalgamation of careers-based sectors and employability practice in the future. The last point on the slide was we had to wait for some time for an Institute for Apprenticeship Relationship Manager, but when we got one, she was absolutely brilliant and has really steered us in the right way. We also are holding out at the moment and sticking our necks out saying that we don't believe this should be under the business administration route way. We believe this should be under, that was the BBC News flash, it's not a news flash. We believe this should be under the social care route way. And I think that would resonate really well with colleagues at Papworth Trust. We are changing people's lives as much as other people working in a social care setting. Why social workers are revered more than employability practitioners, I don't know. We are providing independence, supporting people to realise the opportunities that they're presented with, enabling them to overcome some of those challenges and enabling them to live more independent lives. There's no better relationship between independence and being in work and earning, but it doesn't have to be being in work and earning. And the IEP is all about promoting the ability of people to become more and more independent. I think that sits within a social care setting more than any, and for us that's what we're pushing at the moment. And when the standards become available, we will have pushed for that as much as we possibly can. And hopefully when people are trying to choose careers, they see this as being a valid social-based activity. We got great advice. We established relationships across the sector. We delivered at no commercial cost, so we've been able to do this for goodwill and initiative from everyone. We're able to engage with strategic partners, including institutions, trade bodies and awarding bodies and other assessment bodies, to the point that when we went out to consultation, the consultation went out to over 15,000 people. That's substantial in any consultation, I promise you. And we've increased, and yes, from an IEP perspective, we've been able to increase our influence on our relationships across the piece. Government wasn't interested to start with. That was a bit difficult, but that wasn't because they weren't interested in what we were trying to achieve. They weren't interested because they had other things on their plate. So the learning and development parts at DWP were really busy implementing customer service and business administration apprenticeships under the levy, because they not only have the levy to spend, but they also have to achieve their public service apprenticeship targets. So they took priority. We're now back in relationship discussions with them, and those things are going really well. We didn't have a relationship manager for the first 6, 7, 8 months of this development. That was challenging. We had some challenge, as I mentioned before, between trying to differentiate between the level 3 and 4, and it came to a hiatus, and we, for want of a better term, ditched the level 3 and just concentrated on the level 4. We always wanted something really flexible, so it could be used in many different contexts and environment, but it needed to be focused, because the Institute for Apprenticeships would not sign off on something that didn't do what it said on the tin, prove the capability of individuals to operate in that space as specialists. Employability practitioner is now a specialist occupation, which I think is fantastic. Some frustration in the process. We're dealing with government entities, which is always interesting, and does cause some challenges. And, you know, the IEP is a small organisation. It's a growing organisation, but small organisation. So there's always resource implications. We've learned lots of lessons. We engaged with the employee group really early on. We've learned lots of lessons from the IFA, and we've even been asked provisionally as an institute to drive forward another apprenticeship trailblazer. Now, we've got to decide whether or not it's really in scope. On the face of it, it could be. It's around volunteering. And I know Papworth Trust would be with keen interest in that. But we'll have to figure out whether or not that's something we want to engage with. It has widened the profile of the IEP and the organisation that have been involved. And the individuals from those organisations. You can't imagine how powerful learning development professionals feel now, having had a pot of money, particularly I appreciate through those levy-paying organisations, that they can spend, and it's ring-fenced. It's a really exciting proposition for those individuals who have maybe seen over the years their part of the budget being the one that's not necessarily cut first, but is always at risk, and it's been quite cathartic and rewarding for those individuals. We've increased communication between those partners, and we've built really, really long-standing relationships. Okay. We've substantiated the existing working relationships, and we are now developing Careers Map, which will enable people all the way through FE to choose this as a career and to understand what they need to do, how they need to do, what they need to do to get on in the sector. And clearly, if you're publishing a professional standard of practice, and we will be linking that to IEP membership, and we will be linking that to a register of practitioners. One thing I didn't say, and I'll come back to in a moment. So it does professionalise the sector. Within the level 4, there will be a fail, pass and distinction element. If you achieve, as you start, if you're not already, you will get associate membership. As you complete the standard, the qualification, you will achieve membership, MIEP. If you achieve a distinction, you will be coached and supported with no guarantee of success, but you'll be coached and supported towards fellowship. And we see that as being the professionalisation of the sector. If you become once you qualify to level 4 at distinction, you will automatically be, if you want to be, included in our register of practitioners. So that's about professionalising the sector. The draft standards are almost finished. We genuinely believe they'll be submitted to the root panel at the Institute for Apprenticeship in in 15th of August, and we're hoping to be live in October, so it's imminent. I wanted to share the things about the Trailblazer standards with you because it fits with what we're trying to achieve and your access to services and support. And we've already had a number of organisations come forward who intend to deliver these standards for themselves or externally for other organisations. And there are certain elements of that, whether it be the endpoint assessment, proving through assessment somebody has the capability, or whether it's the learning delivery, or whether it's the overarching quality assessment body. And that's going to be the IEP. The IEP is going to be the EQAO, which is the External Quality Assurance Organisation. And I hope that gives you some solace that we are looking after the standards and making sure that we're promoting this professionalisation. And once again, not saying that anyone isn't professional, clearly they are, but we want people to recognise that. It's the recognition of that professional status is the most important aspect. So we're going to submit that level 4. We're going to be testing with apprentices. We're going to get the final IFA sign-off at some point 6 weeks after the 15th of August. We are going to agree the price banding. The price banding is looking likely to be around about £6,000–7,000 mark at the moment, so organisations have the capacity and the opportunity to deliver that. And October this year is the exciting date in the diary for what's going to happen. So that's my presentation over with. I don't have many chat queries on the chat box, which everyone's been listening intently or asleep. I'm not sure which. But I can just now stop the recording